Good evening. Welcome to the November 11th, 2025 meeting of the Oshkosh Common Council. City Clerk, if you wouldn't mind taking the roll.
Stevenson.
Here.
Nichols is excused. Spanbauer.
Here.
Flom.
Here.
Bulow.
Here.
Mugrauer.
Here. Before Deputy Mayor Stevenson leads us in the invocation and the pledge tonight, I do have a brief thing to say. I just want to acknowledge not only tonight, November 11th, but it's also Veterans Day. And so as we begin tonight's council meeting, I just want to take a moment to honor and thank the veterans of Oshkosh and all across this great nation. Veterans Day reminds us of the courage and the sacrifice of those who have served in our armed forces, men and women who've stepped forward to defend our freedoms and protect the values that we hold so dear. Their service, whether in times of conflict or in peace, has shaped the very foundation of not only this community, but our great country. Here in Oshkosh, we're proud of our veterans, the neighbors, co-workers, and family members who continue to lead, volunteer, and strengthen this city. Organizations like the Winnebago County Veterans Service Office, our local VFWs, American Legion posts, and countless volunteers, they work tirelessly to ensure that our veterans receive the care, respect, as well as the recognition that they so very richly deserve. Tonight and every day, let us show our gratitude through our actions by listening to veteran stories, supporting their needs, and ensuring their legacy of service continues to inspire future generations. So to every veteran in Oshkosh, thank you for your service and sacrifice and for your lasting contributions to this community. Deputy Mayor.
We come together this evening to discuss the issues that confront our city. May we always seek the wisdom to do things that reflect our concern for the people whom we represent. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Normally we ask the students if they have a favorite teacher or subject. Joe, do you have a favorite teacher you want to give a shout out to from back in the day?
I like all my teachers.
There you go. Very political answer.
All right, Mr. Mayor, before we begin, I'd like to move to adjust the agenda to move item number 21 after item 27A. It would make more sense to consider them in that order.
Is there a second?
Second.
So this is the resolution 25578, that's a pending resolution, approved determination of necessity to acquire and approve and execute relocation order for a stormwater easement at 3820 Jackson, 3835 Somerset Way, and 3847 Somerset Way. Any discussion on amending the agenda order? I don't see any. If you'll take the roll on amending the agenda.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
5-0 carried.
All right. First up, we have public statements to council. Let's see here. 18. Chris Steinke's 18. And I do not have anyone registered to speak under public statements to council. I do have several people registered to speak on actual items on the agenda. Is there anybody here who wants to speak to?
Since CIP was last, do we have a CIP this week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I don't see anybody jumping up. Okay, so we'll move right on from public statements. We'll go to consent agenda. I'll take a motion and a second on consent.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on consent? I see none. If you'll take the roll.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
5-0 carried.
Pending ordinance 25-575 amends section 27A-11 of the Oshkosh Municipal Code pertaining to parking regulations on Grand Street from Merritt Ave to Hudson Ave, and Transportation Committee recommends approval. We have a few folks registered to speak tonight. Mark Burrow would be up first, followed by Chris Steinke. If Mark is here, come on up to the microphone, please. Just a reminder, since we didn't do it at the front end, keep your statements to 5 minutes, must stay on this particular topic, and welcome.
Mark Burrow, 552 Grand Street. I own the property for 30 years, and we've had this parking issue for all that time. And we're having the same issue on our end as you do on the other end. My two neighbors on the front side of me can't get out either. There's two double-wide driveways right in a row. And there's two-sided parking on the street, one house away from my house. So I live on the corner of Grand and Hudson. And if you go one house down, there's parking on both sides. And I've had a problem not getting to work because the plow trucks can't get through. Just the other day, I had a trailer trying to get through. I couldn't get through. I had to back up and go the wrong way down to get in my driveway. I don't think there should be any parking on the road. It's just not wide enough. I know my neighbor has a small driveway, but I owned a house next to his that burned down, and that was a shared driveway with his driveway. We both used that. And then when it burned down, she took it over for 548. I just don't think there should be any parking. The Transportation Board thinks we shouldn't have any parking, and I don't either, because I'd like to get to work and I want the plows going through. Ambulance, fire trucks, they have problems too. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Steinke, and then we'll follow that by Jeff Ellman. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening. I am at 520 Pleasant Street. My garage and driveway are on Grand Street. I had emailed you guys all a bunch of my notes, and here's what I got. So it's my understanding that the council here votes on the good of the community, not on one man. At the Transportation Committee, we all heard from one of the members, I've driven down that road and I am astonished that parking is allowed. It is simply too small, yet here we are. Last council meeting, when we were here, one of the council members said, I drive down that road a lot, and I tell you, I drive a big pickup. And there are many times I start to turn down that road, I see parked cars, and I say, nope, not happening. If I can have the video of the fire truck being blocked brought up. Here's a video showing that fire truck access is simply an issue. As you can see, there's a car parked along the curb and a fire truck has no room to get by. Firefighters have to abandon their fire truck to go to wherever it is. On this particular day, as you can see, there is not much urgency. There's not a big emergency. But what if it is? What if somebody's life is in the line? Can that really risk that time? So I asked, if the fire marshal says, I didn't think parking was allowed on this street, I'm surprised it's allowed, then why is it allowed? If fire code for the state says 20 feet unobstructed clearance for fire trucks to access emergencies, and our street is 17 feet 4 inches wide curb to curb, why is it allowed? I asked this council, if you allow parking to continue, who is liable if emergency crews cannot get past to put out a house fire, or worse, save a human life? It is my understanding that 550 Grand Street was lost to a fire. Would restricted parking have saved that house? As some of my neighbors have also mentioned, snowplows are an issue. When they see a parked car on our street, they simply don't plow it. With that, I need to ask you, with the city having letters going out with our water bills this past month, stating, first offense, you're getting a fine if you don't clear the sidewalk in a timely manner, and the city can't even plow our roads. Who's liable? Who's liable when I go out to get my wife's car out that's stuck in the road, and I slip and fall and get hurt? I'm disabled. A lot of the people on the street are disabled, and if they're not disabled, a lot of them are elderly. You're asking elderly and disabled people to go shovel out their cars, because allowing parking, plows can't get done. I understand that 548 Grand Street is the one house that is objected to this happening. But simply put, one man's investment should not be considered the greater for the community. If parking is allowed on the street in front of his property, it creates a problem for 546 and 552 Pleasant Street. If I can get the map put up, please. If you could see up there, right by the G of Grand towards the top, is 2 double-wide driveways. 548 is the one on the right, just past the big driveway on the south side of that. If they can't back out of their driveways because the car's parked at 548, they're running into the same problem. To give you guys reference, in a parking lot, here even at the city council, clearance to back out of a parking lot stall is 18 to 20 feet. If we have a road that is 18 feet or less, and you put a parked car there, you're asking us to do a very miraculous turn. I have attached also a Google Streets map, or a Google Streets image of 548, if I can get that image put up, because it was brought up at the transportation meeting and last city council meeting that apparently there is not a possible way to park a vehicle in this driveway. If there's a full-size pickup truck parked in this driveway, how can it simply be put that there is not room for a vehicle to park in this driveway? I can empathize with the owner of this property because I myself, after buying my house, learned I cannot park my trailer on the grass in the city of Oshkosh due to city ordinance. I had to make the tough decision. Do I sell my trailer or do I park it in my driveway and park my truck on the road and create more of a problem? So I ask of you guys tonight to please stop the rigmarole and please just vote no parking. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Did the internet just go out?
Well, I lost my list, but I know Jeff was next, followed by Don.
Good evening. My name's Jeff Ellman. I live at 514 Pleasant Street. I have lived there for almost 18 years. A couple things that I just want to add to what Chris just added is the fact that when I first bought my house, because of the parking issue, I had a lot of issues getting out of my driveway and everything. So, long story short, I had to go to the city and stuff because I wanted to expand. I was putting in a sidewalk and a new deck in my backyard coming out, but there was a misunderstanding. But anyway, the city got upset because they said that I didn't have permission to do that. Well, I ended up having to pay over $500 just to talk to the city to have that extended because you're not supposed to have your garage, your driveway wider than your garage, even though the part that I added was only a little over 2 feet. And then because of that, I said I had the problem. Also, we just had some of the neighbors ended up getting in trouble because they weren't trimming their trees and everything, which are hanging over into the road. So when cars are parked there, I have a brand new truck, I'm forced to go through all of those trees, which scratches my truck. And now that's damaging, my vehicle and stuff because I have no room to go anywhere but to go straight through and can't go the other way because it's just a one-way street. So that makes that, even more difficult. The other thing I just would like to add is that it is brought to my attention, and it's just my opinion, that the one person that wants to go against, what the rest of the neighborhood's looking for, knows somebody on council, and I think that person should be recusing themselves from voting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Don? Welcome.
Welcome. I am Don Shettle, 548 Grand. I don't know someone special on the council. And in a point of clarification, the picture that was put up there with a full-size truck parked in the driveway, I couldn't see that clearly, but if it was my truck, I don't have a full-size truck. I have a Ranger, which is a small truck. I believe I gave all of the council members this sheet with a picture of my house there. On the north side, there is a fence, then there's the driveway, which is 2-car deep, and then there's the house. Now, if you go in the deepest parking space, you can't open the door either way, passenger or driver's side, to get out of the car, about a foot. I also have plumbing that comes out there for my septic, my sump pump, and also my furnace is exhausted and comes in there, so that's PVC, so it makes it even closer. One person suggested that maybe I would take the fence down, which would be on the east end of that driveway, and make parking in the back. That wouldn't work for me because in the front, of course, there's no terrace for this sidewalk, and between the drive and the approach sidewalk for my house, there's a 8-foot by 10-foot space. All the shoveling has to be done onto there. I also have a full-size porch that gets shoveled off. And on the other side, the lot line is less than 5 feet. So I'm very limited to where I can pile the snow. I can't throw it onto the street. The sidewalk has to go there. And for my driving, I have to blow it rearward to the second stall. So I'm very limited there. Because I can only back in the driveway, because I can't exit on a passenger side. If I back in, I can get out on the driver's side. I can't get out against the fence. I am very restricted as to my parking. So to me, it's critical to park out in front. All I can do is ask the council to consider that. I realize the other people's their side of the story, and I'm not trying to be unneighborly, but I have a great need there. If I have someone even visit me, there's no place. Someone suggested to park down the street, but there's probably 150 feet to the closest parking if it's not used. And then my question is, what happens if I have passengers or if I have packages? How do I park in front and get them out? I have to go down the street and haul everything back and forth. It does seem to be a big inconvenience, and not just an inconvenience, but a hardship for me. So I just would ask for that consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anyone else registered to speak on this topic, but is there anyone else here in the audience that wishes to before we take up our action? I don't see anybody. I'll take a motion and a second on 25-575.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Go right ahead, whoever wants it.
Go ahead. All right. I talked last time that I drive down this road quite often, and I do have a passenger pickup. It's not a large vehicle, but I'm the one that said, if I see cars in there, I just say nope, and I keep going, but I have that capability of doing so and just going around the block farther, and the people that live on this block don't, because obviously they have to go down there. That's where their parking is. I wish there was a better solution. I really do. I feel bad for the owner of 548. I'm going to vote in favor of this. I know it's not been a perfect process to get to here. I believe, I don't want to tee it up, but I believe Mr. Mayor is going to talk a little bit about that and what, maybe could have made it a little bit better process. But I do think that the right answer is that it's no parking, that entire section. And I would recommend the owner of 548, Mr. Shuttle, please work with our staff to see if there is any other options that can be figured out there, but I don't think parking on the street is the right option for that block. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Floam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things. This is a tough one. It is, to Mr. Bulow's point, there's no one solution that's going to satisfy all parties here. I spoke with an individual who lives on this road. That is not a pre-existing relationship with that individual. He approached me as any member of the public could approach a member of council about a specific item, or any item, really.
Just for a second,
That's,
if you don't mind. I also spoke to him. I believe we all have. That
Yes.
does not constitute a conflict.
No. So for that, you're allowed to talk to any member of council about any specific city-related item, right? We're people just like the rest of you. For me, this is a tough one. I asked staff if there's anything else that we could possibly do here. I don't necessarily think that there is. I wish we had a better solution to this. I do. But if an emergency vehicle can't get down the road, that's a non-starter for me. And so I've talked to via email and phone call, multiple people on Grand Street, and with that, like I said, if there was a better solution, we'd take it. And so it's going to be uneven. It's unfortunate, but that's the only solution it seems that we have at this point in time. So that's my picture on the situation. Like I said, it's regrettable, but if an emergency vehicle can't get down there, that takes precedence.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I agree. I think there shouldn't be parking on the street. Everybody has said everything I wanted to say, except I saw Community Development Director kind of standing up and down over there, and I was going to ask, so a variance in a situation like this, I mean, it sounds like the individual can't use their property in a manner that other individuals would be permitted to use that property. I don't need you to make a decision on the spot here, but they could apply for, I'm doing really rough measurements on my phone right now. It looks like if they had some sort of parking in the front of their house, which isn't traditionally allowed, I mean, could they apply for a variance in that manner under that? You want to speak?
I think it makes sense to look into a variety of options, and what I usually say is, while the code may not allow it at this time, there's absolutely an opportunity to see if there's something we could do to change to make it work for this particular situation.
Okay. And then that's where I would point this gentleman. I think our decisions up here really are for the whole. We are trying to make our public right-of-way better, and while one individual, I think it does negatively affect you, I would hope that our staff can work through some other options and see what we can work for you on the private side. So, thank you.
I guess I'll go. I was the one who laid this over, so I just wanted a few brief comments. Our job on a variety of issues is to balance the needs of the many versus the wants of a few. And that could be actually looked at two different ways on this particular topic. It could be the single individual property owner or others on the streets wants. In the end, public safety does win out. I'm well aware of the potential hardship that this type of situation puts on property owners. We have lots of main streets, not main streets, but main thoroughfares through the community where people can't park in front of their own property, and it does have an impact on that. The one thing that I think was hitting me hardest at the last meeting was, we've had parking on this street for as long as I can figure out, and it probably shouldn't have been there, but there has been a benefit, and I struggle with taking it away. I don't do that lightly. I don't think that's an easy thing that we should make that very easy. But after getting a lot of information from staff, being down there myself, citizens, I appreciate the amount of information that has flowed to us from you in multiple different ways and on either side of the topic. This is a street that there just should not be parking. It does not make sense, and we have plenty of other streets and alleys that would be like this, a handful of others where we do not have any parking on those streets for this exact same reason. You cannot safely traverse it for public safety, public works, those types of things. My only one other thing, and I spoke with Mr. Collins via email as well as the chair of the Transportation Committee. My one concern procedurally was it was agendaed that it would be reviewing the idea of extending that 315 feet from, what's the cross street, Merritt, I think it was.
Merritt.
Yeah, and that's the way it was agendaed, and then the committee made the suggestion to just make it no parking the whole length. And I just want to make sure, I think our committees see the whole board on a decision like that someone may not have showed up because they thought only that was on the agenda that night, only that would be taken up, and that changing it to the full street may not have been an option. And so just to ensure that residents, concerned citizens have an opportunity to share their thoughts at the committee level, that we'd be very aware of changing something like that dramatically at that committee level, so without giving people a chance. With that, I'll support the amendment and vote yes on it. So, if you want something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for laying this over so that we had time to look at it and more people get involved. And Jonathan, if you'd like to point out that we still have the availability, we don't have to rush things through all the time. I know there were so many people that were concerned when we got rid of the second reading on all items, and I just wanted, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I wanted to point out that we still have this process and we will still use this process to make sure as often as possible that we'll get to the right answer.
If there's nothing else, City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on 25575.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Mugrower.
Aye.
I vote carried.
New ordinance, we have two of them. Ordinance 25576, amend section 27-63B of the City of Oshkosh Municipal Code to restrict bicycles on sidewalks or walkways where a building abuts the sidewalk. I don't have anyone registered to speak on this, but I'll take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Mr. Flom?
Super briefly, I want to thank staff and the Transportation Committee for getting this together. This is an approach that required multiple aspects to balance: people who enjoy using e-bikes, people who enjoy cycling around our city and who use it for accessibility, versus the issue that it's posed to pedestrians and drivers. So with this, is it perfect? Again, like the last solution, no, it's not. But I think it's definitely a good start. It helps people still enjoy the use of e-bikes in the city of Oshkosh and keep pedestrians and drivers safe. So appreciate the work that's been put into this.
I don't see any other members interested in speaking. If you'll take the roll on 25576.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
And Mugrower.
Aye.
I vote carried.
Ordinance 25577, amend section 27-A11 of the City of Oshkosh Municipal Code pertaining to parking regulations on High Ave.
So moved.
Second.
That was, are you catching on to the voices?
I am.
All right, not the real voices, not the imagined.
Thank you.
I can do like a cartoon voice to make it different.
Any discussion on 577? I see none. When you're ready, if you'll take the roll.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Mugrower.
Aye.
I vote carried.
25578, we moved down on the order, so we're going to jump right to new resolution 25-579. This is to adopt the 2026 annual budget minus the Grand Opera House and establish the tax levy for the City of Oshkosh. I don't have anyone registered to speak on this particular item, so I'll take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second. Discussion on the budget. I've got you in one more, the CIP part, right? Capital improvements? Yep, okay. Just wanted to make sure. If you'd like to, go right ahead.
I just wanted to make a note that our preliminary estimates were 7.73 per 1,000 valuation, so $7.73. We received the finalized manufacturing values from the state, so the updated rate is $7.77.
And just because this was I know, a hot issue last year in terms of the process for which properties are valued, the state entirely controls that, correct?
Yes, we don't have anything to do with manufacturing.
We had
property
an estimate
assessments.
that was given to us. We had anticipated it coming in pretty close and actually came in a little less. Is that,
Correct.
okay. Just wanted to make sure that just for
It's
clarity.
just a 4 cents difference.
Yep. But yeah, this one's completely, that particular part of the property evaluations is completely out of our control. We just copy and paste those numbers, basically. Okay. Any council members wishing to speak?
And Rebecca, I apologize, I didn't give you a heads up on this, but do you just want to talk about the ongoing, that the negotiations with OAHS are ongoing and we're making progress?
Exactly, yeah. Chief Smith has been talking with him, and we're hopeful that something would be done by the end of this week that we can bring to the council at the end of the month, so.
Awesome, thank
We'll
you.
keep you posted.
You just wanted the newspaper to quote her.
I'm pretty sure Jonathan's still going to go with me. I don't know. And Justin right behind him making notes.
In terms of the budget itself, a big thank you to not only Ms. Grill, but finance staff, as well as all the other members of staff that work so very hard the entire year to go through this process and bring us a budget that we can say to the taxpayers is fair and balanced and that moves us forward in many, many ways, whether it's economically, whether it's through our quality of life assets, investing in our people. So a huge thank you for that. I know that this process, one, little different possibly than the past several years, but also just the direction on how to get to presenting us this budget and keeping the levy amount equal to last year was a big thing for us. And just given where people are at financially in this community and the things that are going on, trying to keep their tax bills as reasonable as possible, yet still investing. It was a hard task, I know it was, but the effort is much appreciated, and just want to say a big thank you to not only Ms. Grill, but finance staff and all of the leadership up and down the line, and all the effort that they went through to present this to us.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I would just like to emphasize that point. I think council knew, staff knew last year that we were all nervous about this budget, I think, coming into this year. I thought it was going to be a huge success if we just came in and property taxes stayed level, didn't go up at all, or went up by a little bit, and instead we came in with a reduction. So, I commend staff for kind of putting pen to paper and getting us a little bit more efficient and making this process work. So I'm glad it was not as nerve-wracking as I thought it was going to be, so thank you.
Mr. Flom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Personally, I view this budget as one of the first steps in a larger efficiency drive for the city of Oshkosh and just being efficiency-minded. We know that a lot of families are cash-strapped. A lot of families who work in this city are living paycheck to paycheck. And for us as a city, we should be as responsible as we possibly can be with that, while making the necessary investments and delivering on the services that our residents require and expect from their tax dollars. So for this, I think this is a great start for that. We have a lot more work to do, but I'm impressed by what staff was able to do with this budget, trying to stretch it out as far as you can go, and ensuring that the property taxes that our citizens pay are put to very good use. So thank you.
I don't see anything else. With that, City Clerk, if you take the roll on 25-579.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Buelow.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
5-0 carried.
Resolution 25-580, adopt the 2026 annual budget for the Grand Opera House. I don't have anyone registered to speak on this.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there we go. Mr. Buelow.
Just voting present. I pulled it out of the main budget because I worked there.
Okay. I don't see any other buttons. When you're ready, if you'll take the roll on 25-580.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
Present.
Resolution 25-581, approve financing for the 2026 capital improvement projects. I do have one person registered to speak, Mr. Bruce Bayer. Welcome and good evening.
Yes, I am a veteran.
Thank you for your service.
I've been up here a few times. It sounds like a bunch of eyes up there, but I do have a problem with the cost of the project and the way it's handled. Last time it was said by one of your people that there's a possibility of a boil effect that would event at 125 houses, it would affect possible. When was the last time there was a boil effect in the city of Oshkosh? Because they needed a loop. That's why they were going down Clareville Road. To my knowledge, I've never heard of a boil water effect in the city of Oshkosh. Do you have any idea of what it would cost me to have flush my toilet and take a shower? I estimate that it'll be between $30,000 and $40,000, of which I can do right now without paying an additional cent. by being annexed to the city, my taxes went up over $1,000. And there was I had to buy new garbage cans and runoff, and there's a lot of extra expense in living in the city. Although I live on a corner of a 40-acre farm and an 80-acre farm, which there's 6 houses in, which there's 3/4 of a mile of water and sewer that, on your proposal, on the investment, would cost. I had no say in the annexation from the town of Algoma or the city. It was all done by the city and town of Algoma. The amount on Clareville Road, which I live on right now, is very high. And that's going to be shut down for 2 years in order to put the sewer and water in. I received a letter the other day that said that they're going to put a TV camera down the sewer. I don't know why I got the letter, but they wanted me to sign it. What is that all about? Again, the big city is moving out there, and the annexation of, there's 90 properties down the road, which there's no sewer or water to right now. I have to pay for it. So that annexation and that subdivision can go ahead. The 40-acre farm and an 80-acre farm, the Cope farm next to me, is going to cost them almost $300,000 to put sewer and water in it on the farm, which there is no buildings or anything on. They're not going to use any water or any sewer. So I don't think that this should be part of the capital improvement for next year or the year after.
Thank you, sir. I do not have anyone else registered to speak to this item. I'll take a motion in a second to put on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
I think you can pick.
Just pick.
Two different people on that one. Council, any discussion? I don't see any.
I mean, we've been talking about these special assessments for a while and different options that we have for them, and I feel for you, I really do. I'm going to be voting yes on this because it needs to move forward, and you're right, it doesn't. We do need a closed water loop system out there. I did Google while you were talking when was the last boil water advisory. Funny enough, there's an Oshkosh, Nebraska that had one in 2024. It didn't quite understand what I meant by Oshkosh, so, but the fact that it's not the fact that it will happen or that it has happened, is that it can happen. And our Public Works Department has to deal with that and design things for public good and forward-facing, both of those options. So we're going to continue to work on options and deferments, and I know that doesn't help you right now, but it is something that we are going to be moving, that I'm going to be voting to move forward with.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I would just recommend technical questions I would ask staff about. We often can't do like a dialogue back and forth. I know I'm kind of doing that right now. But if you do have like technical nature questions, give staff a call and they can answer them. As Carl said, a boil order is enacted when a water main is not on a loop, it's on a single strand. Water main breaks, people all along the back end of the break don't get water. You have to boil your water, otherwise you get sick. It's not a back and forth, sorry, sir. And then this does happen pretty frequently. I have worked in a handful of communities where this has happened throughout the valley. I can't remember the last time it's happened in Oshkosh, but it's not an uncommon occurrence. So again, if you have other technical questions, maybe about the televising of your lateral or something that was going on of that nature, please contact staff and ask them more. So thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anything else. City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on 25-581.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flom.
Aye.
Buelow.
Aye.
Oberauer.
Aye.
5-0 carried.
Resolution 25-582, this is to award bid for Public Works Contract 26-03 to PTS Contractors for Ohio Street and West 16th Avenue reconstruction. I don't have anyone registered to speak. Take a motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on this? I don't see any. She'll take the roll on 25-582.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flum.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Mugrower.
Aye.
5-0 carried.
We're going to move on to discussion, direction to city manager, future agenda items, that space. First thing up is discussion and direction to staff regarding options available to address the stormwater easements at 3820 Jackson Street, 3835 Somerset Way, and 3847 Somerset Way. And then that will be followed by the pending resolution that was laid over a few meetings ago for potential action. So discussion, direction. It may be best if Public Works staff maybe come on up and,
Who do public first?
you're right.
Well, can you say that louder? Sorry.
No.
Don't encourage him.
No encouragement. Yeah, you're right. Apologize for that. Actually, so Tanya Marco,
That's what I was waiting for.
if you'd like, Tanya's registered to speak on behalf of Advocap on this issue. If you'd like, the floor can be yours, and then we'll have our discussion following that. So 5 minutes, and try to keep it the topic.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm not sure what the proposal is here, so mine goes back to Resolution 25-578.
It's okay.
Okay.
They're intricately connected,
Okay.
and it's awkward for us tonight on how this is agended, so
Okay,
we're going to be
thank
fine.
you. So my name is Tanya Marco. I'm the Executive Director at Advocap. We have a property or a construction for a child care incubator located at 3820 Jackson Street. I'm here today to respectfully urge your approval of Resolution 25-578, which authorizes the acquisition of the storm sewer easement for the existing line and that drains from Jackson Street to Somerset Way. This easement is critical to the timely construction of Advocap's Child Care Incubator, a project you unanimously approved on August 12, 2025. The incubator is not just a building, it is a cornerstone of our community's economic development strategy designed to address the severe shortage of childcare services that impacts working families and local employers. Every day of delay in securing this easement just jeopardizes our ability to meet and approve construction timeline and risks escalating costs. If the easement is not obtained promptly, our engineering team will be forced to redesign the approved site plan, resulting in significant additional engineering costs, extended project timelines that could push completion well beyond the anticipated date, and higher overall construction costs, which strain both public and private investment in this project. These delays could undermine the efficiency and fiscal responsibility that the council and Advocap have worked hard to maintain. By approving Resolution 25-578 today, you ensure that this project remains on schedule, within budget, and aligned with the vision you endorsed in August. This incubator represents a transformative opportunity for Oshkosh, supporting families, strengthening the workforce, and fostering long-term economic growth. Your timely action will demonstrate the council's commitment to these priorities and to the community's future. Thank you for your leadership and consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Robbie, Mr. Gurek, maybe, so several meetings ago, 2 months-ish, 3 months-ish ago, this came to us, we laid it over, we asked for more information. We asked for options, which, to be honest, councils in the past haven't always asked for options. So that, while I know I expressed some frustration that night that we didn't have them in front of us, that evening to discuss, it took a little reflection to realize that councils usually haven't asked for many of those in the past. It was lowest cost always, generally. And so we gave direction to create some options for us to consider, look at, digest a little bit, and you did that, and I want to first say thank you for doing that in the manner of which you supplied that information. For a little bit of clarity, I guess, you guys just want to briefly run through the couple options you've presented to us, and then we can figure out how to best give some instruction. I know, yeah, go ahead, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, as you mentioned, council asked us to kind of go back to the drawing boards and see what we can come up with. So after that meeting, we worked with Brown and Caldwell, came up with 4 potential options to try and eliminate the need of acquiring the easement that we had discussed. 2 of the 4 options are not hydraulically feasible, as they transition water out of one watershed into another and creates increased flooding at the intersection or near the intersection of Jackson and Snell. So because of that, we kind of discounted those and continued on with the other 2. The other 2 options are certainly feasible. However, upgraded storm sewer system, new and upgraded size storm sewers are going to have to be installed kind of throughout that neighborhood to be able to convey the flows as appropriate. So option A, kind of reroute storm sewer north up Jackson into the neighborhood. Is because of that rerouting of storm sewer, the outfall to the subdivision would need to get upsized, so impacting 4 to 5 property owners that easements exist today into the outfall of the county park. The other option is a little shorter route, needing new easements from property owners, and about 1,100, I think, 1,200 feet of new or upsized storm sewer, in addition to, again, upsizing the outfall in the backyards of 4 to 5 property owners near the outfall of the county park. So high level, that's kind of what we did engineering. I know community development had worked on a couple different options, well, really one other option that was kind of presented. I don't know if you want to mention any of that or if you have questions, but those are really the 4 engineering options that we kind of came up with.
If you want, and I can take it back.
It's pretty straightforward. It's the original option that we had presented at the previous meeting of working with the residents to purchase the easement, or looking at potentially purchasing the properties, putting the piping in properly, and then placing the easements, and then reselling the properties.
So again, kind of going back to the options you guys created, appreciate the manner in which you put these together, showing us the impact of those decisions as clearly as possible at the highest of levels. As you kind of mentioned, it's, 1,200 feet, 2,400 feet of new pipe possibly. It's multiple other easements needed. In this particular case, there may be no solution. There may just be options. And then it's the least invasive or the direct path as possible. It does seem that the alternate A and D, the new routes, would be significantly impactful to others, as well as incur significant additional costs. Pursuing the easement and/or pursuing purchasing of properties seems like the most prudent path forward on behalf of residents and the stormwater customers in that space, as well as the city, in my opinion. Council, further questions or any other guidance or anything you want to ask or say? Go right ahead.
Sure. When this came forward, I was sad for the homeowners for lack of options. That was, and I think we all were. That was not something where we were happy when we found this pipe and what we had to do. And looking at the options that we have, even if we reroute it north or south, or the almost 1,300 square feet or the 2,300 square feet, we still have to do something with that pipe under there. So it leaves us in a position where the only 2 options that I can feel good about offering is the fact that it is not sell us the easement or we're going to take it, but we have the option on the table of, let's talk about the easement or let's talk about a sale of the property. And that's at least an option that I can go to sleep tonight knowing that they have that opportunity, because what they shared to all of us is that this isn't a solution or isn't a situation that they would have gotten into if they had all of this information. So at least we have the escape valve of buying the property if that's the way they want to go. That option wasn't presented at the first meeting, and I understand why, and I totally get that. Looking at the price of what we would spend in rerouting and acquiring other easements, it seems like that's probably going to be a more feasible option for everybody if that's the way they want to go. So my direction is going to be to work with the homeowners, see if they'd prefer to sell property to us and then we fix it right, or see if they'd prefer to sell the easement. I think I know which way they're going to want to go, but at least they have 2 options, and that's better than that's better we can give them those two options today than what we could give them before.
Deputy Mayor.
Have you guys talked with the owners at all about any of these ideas, or? I know I see some of them, but I don't.
No, we have not
Okay.
talked to them. We did email them, let them know that we had finished everything, they had gotten the information, and that
Sure.
it was going to be discussed tonight.
Okay. That was my only question. Thanks.
Mr. Floam?
I'm in the same boat. At the prior meeting, I stated that if I was in the shoes of the property owners, I'd be obviously very upset. And while this is not, again, not perfect, I wish there were another way. I'm sure everybody here wishes there was another way that would be minimally invasive and not cost prohibitive and hydraulically feasible. I'm sure everybody feels that way. But if I were a property owner in this situation, I would want the option to be bought out as well. So with that, I feel better knowing that we can at least give them something. We can say we can acquire the easement or acquire the property, instead of moving forward as we were planning to the first time. So while it's not ideal, for me, it would be minimally invasive, as staff had proposed earlier, or a purchase of the property would be what I would feel better with in taking to the property owners in this situation. Noting that it is unfortunate that we're in this position and they didn't know that earlier when they bought the property.
Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm talking twice, but I had a thought for you. If we did go down the route of like eminent domain and like taking the property for them, it does take a long time. So we're kind of all talking up here about like negotiating and things like that. I do think that is the path, could be the quickest path. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but willing sellers or willing people it's usually a quicker path than us coming up here and saying, we're going to take property from you and force a sale.
We have been working with AdvoCap on their options,
Okay.
with still proceeding with their project, while still knowing that the stormwater is a thing we
Okay.
need to get considered.
And thank you, because
Yep.
the council is very excited about your project. I don't want you to think that we're trying to stall you or anything. So thank you for what you're doing for the community.
Council, any additional questions or comments? Staff, anything beyond what you've shared or via memo or in person that you want to? Okay. Well, with that, we'll consider the discussion probably in direction phase. This is the awkward part. So direction-wise, I think you heard pretty clear from us on path forward. Is that fair? Okay. It would be option, purchase easement, purchase properties, just to be very clear, right, council?
In whichever order works best, yes.
That would be the desired path forward in terms of direction. At which point, we do need to move to the pending ordinance, the pending resolution, because they also do need the determination and necessity to acquire the easement, and that allows them to do that process and start those conversations. So we'll move on to Resolution 25578, approve determination of necessity to acquire and approve and execute relocation order for a storm sewer easement at 3820 Jackson, 3835 Somerset Way, and 3847 Somerset Way.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
I do want to talk about it.
Go right ahead.
So this resolution, my question, I guess, is getting at, do we need this resolution? This resolution starts the process of eminent domain, is what I believed.
Yes, it would. Yes.
If you guys can step up to the mic, who's ever going to try to address the question?
Correct me if I'm wrong then, but it gives us the option to start eminent domain if it comes to that process. Obviously, we're going to do absolutely everything within our abilities to negotiate with the property owners on either purchasing the property or purchasing the easement, but we always have to have that tool in our toolbox in case we need to use it because of the pipe.
Sure. Could you guys negotiate with them without us passing this resolution today?
I'm going to defer to legal.
It's not the ideal situation. There's a process. What would happen is, because we could ultimately take it, and if you don't do that option to begin with, and we don't start the process properly, the property owner can bring us into court, we can end up wasting time and having to go back and redo things later on. So it's the better way to proceed. It does not mean that you have to ultimately go through with the process. It just starts that process and gives that authority. Then it tells the staff, give them the information that they're entitled to. There are pamphlets, there are owner rights, they get those. We get an appraisal for the property. It begins that process and assures that the negotiations are done in a correct way and in a fair way. That's what the statute's intended to do.
And I'll just kind of add to that, just for context purposes. So, and I don't remember which meeting it is, but recently, we had the intersection of Jackson, Furno, right-of-way acquisition on there. So, 8-10 months ago, you guys approved the same resolution there. We had a consultant come on board, help us acquire those properties. There's 4 corners that we had to acquire. 2 of the corners, we had agreed upon costs and agreed to numbers too. At that same meeting, we also had 2 jurisdictional offers, which is the process for eminent domain and be able to take that property. So, same concept. Recently, we had 2 accepted offers and 2 jurisdictional offers that were brought forth to the council. I would assume we'd have to do the same thing in this situation. Once this is passed, we'd start the negotiation process, and we'd have to come back to council for a final approval and what happens.
Any other questions? Okay. If you, City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on 25-578.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Flum.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Mubrauer.
Aye.
5-0 carried.
Okay. That is it for action items, as well as discussion and direction. Future agenda items, meetings and workshops. Workshop, November 25th, that's the next regularly scheduled council meeting, right? 5:15, League of Wisconsin Municipalities and their mutual insurance services will be presenting to us. The next, sorry, give me a second here. Next one, appointment to fill council vacancy. That's also going to occur at the November 25th council meeting. During the council meeting itself, that'll be one of the first things we do that evening. Applicants have until 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, November 12th, to submit their applications and complete that council questionnaire. Submit a letter of interest. Resume would be great. All those things by 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, November 12th.
Just for clarity, City Clerk Salinas, are you going to take any applications after 4:31 p.m.?
That was not my intent, no.
I just wanted to drive that home. That we don't do partial credit for late applicants and.
Or if your application gets chewed up by your dog or something.
Yeah, right.
Not getting my homework.
They can be, you can submit online, you can drop it off in person, you can mail it, but it better have already been mailed. So I would recommend anybody who's still interested, get those in, make sure they're here on time, and then we would we'll be happy to see you in 2 weeks on the 25th here, where we will go through one of the most awkward interview processes possible to fill the vacant seat that we currently have. And final workshop that we should put on our calendar is Menominee Park Train, January 13th, 2026, 5 p.m., where we're going to learn a little bit more about our amusement activities and potential 2026 new attraction over in the Menominee Park area. Council members, do you have any announcements or statements?
Sure, I really appreciate city staff bringing cough drops so that we could make it through the meeting today without having to stop for water.
The people listening at home enjoy it as well.
Or the lack thereof listening to.
City manager, you have a few things, and then we have a motion from the deputy mayor to go into closed session, I think.
There's an update for the strategic plan with the third quarter information. I don't know if there's any questions. It's 29 pages long. There's a variety of different things. Nothing necessarily that I wanted to highlight.
I appreciate the update. I know I sent off a few questions today myself, but just getting closer to the end of the year, it's good to know where we're trending and if we're going to get there or what things may be holding things up. So appreciate the update.
And then the next item, I don't really have too much, but I just wanted to note that one of the things that we talked through in the budget is our net new construction affects our ability to raise the levy and do different things. So we have something we added to the item online regarding investing in our future. It talks about certain investments we've done here, Mill on Main, Theta Care, and just the Grand, Oshkosh, how they drive economic development and investment, and letting people know how that looks as far as a downtown redevelopment plan. So that this is online. That's the only update I have on that. And if there's any questions on the current initiatives, I don't have any updates.
I see nothing. Cool. Before the deputy mayor does his thing, council will consider going into closed session to discuss the potential purchase of property commonly known as City Center. Background information in relation to that closed session was provided in the council agenda packet. Council, any questions related to that background information prior to going into closed session? I see none. Deputy Mayor?
I move that the common council convene in a closed session pursuant to section 18.851E of the Wisconsin State Statute where competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session to discuss bargaining options, strategy, parameters, and terms related to the potential redevelopment and/or acquisition of property located at 101 Commerce Street and 201 Pearl Avenue in the city of Oshkosh, commonly known as the City Center.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? If not, if you'll take the roll on the motion to go into closed session.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Blum.
Aye.
Buelow.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
Bible.
I'll take a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Take your pick. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.